Hi, my name is Pipinella and welcome to Which Way, the podcast where we talk all things travel, life, and everything in between. For context, I am at the tail end of my journey backpacking Southeast Asia, and I think I've got a lot of stories that I'd love to share, a lot of reflections that I'd love to talk about, which is why I've created the space where I could just waffle and talk in peace without feeling like I need to be structured. So if you've made it to this journey, I'm really excited to have you here. We're just trying to figure out. At its inception, when I created the podcast, to be quite honest, it was born from the frustration of my expectations of backpacking versus the reality, which make this a lot of the expectations are not met. I mean, this could be just my own internal reasoning. Maybe it has nothing to do with the external factors, it's just me, or I think for the most part, a lot of them were as a result of external factors. And it was from this frustration that I, had gone to my social media platforms and I'd shared about, like, guys, do you ever feel like when you travel and you're like black and it's just not the same, And it opened a can of dialogues. Like, I'm talking between comment sections, inboxes, DMs of people being like, girl, oh my God, yes. Oh my God, I thought I was the only one. And I figured, oh my God, if I'm not the only one, because even just opening up about that, and I'll have an entire episode about that I have uploaded on my platform. So I was sharing about the frustrations of traveling as a black woman, and not just, I think, specifically as a black African woman, because I would love to make it a lot more. We'll have an episode about that, because I don't want to get into that. I need to do my research first, and so that I talk facts and I just don't talk from my butt. But I was really amazed to see that so many people, men and women, were like, me too. Oh, I thought I was the only one. And it just made me realize that surely there needs to be a space. I know the world doesn't need any more podcasts, but I think there's space to have these conversations. Obviously not just limited to that, but these nuanced conversations that are specifically those kind of topics that could get overlooked in the travel conversation. And I think another reason was because, as someone who's enthusiastic, for lack of a better word, I think there's also not enough resources as far as books and stuff that are by a black woman. And I think there's still stories worth telling there without making it about that. But I was just particularly really amazed. And I'm going to keep looking away from the camera, because I want to think. And if I look at the camera, I'm going to feel like I'm talking to the camera. So I am looking away. Also, this is going to be on podcast. So it was those frustrations and just being like, guys, I want to talk about this thing, but I don't think a story is enough, an Instagram story. And I'd love to back whatever I'm talking about with facts. It's another recent resurgence in my life, if that's the word, where I'm like, I think my brain is melting from over consuming social media. As someone who works in social media and then also consumes social media, I'm like, my brain is fried. I would love to put my energy towards something that I feel like my brain is growing, and which is why I want to go back to school, and I'd love to read more. And that's another factor that led to this podcast. I'm like, I mean, if I have something to talk about and I'm sharing information and people are trusting me to talk about things, I'd like to back it up with facts. But also, as someone who works in social media, I'd love to get into podcast production. I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to conversations. I love listening to a beautiful, well-planned out, well-produced podcast. I was like, well, if I'm going to want to do that, I'm going to learn that, then maybe I should start with my own. So that's essentially, those are just some of the backstories for this podcast. But honestly, the thought came to me. I was in Cambodia. I was sitting on the beach and I was frustrated. And I yapped on my Instagram and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start a travel podcast, because I want to talk about these things, and I know the world doesn't need any more podcasts, but I think there's still space for this. A lot of my friends were like, girl, do it. And I was like, you know what? Fair, I'm going to do it. But as I record this video, I have one more day. This is my final day. Okay, actually 2 more days. Today's Friday. I'm going to be in Thailand for another day, which is tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I'm leaving. Oh, I have 3 days. Sorry. I'm not very good at maths either. I have 3 days. I'm leaving for South Africa on Monday morning. 2 a.m. I'm so excited. I've come to the end of this journey, which I honestly, when I started this journey, I had no idea I didn't have an idea. All I knew was that I wanted to travel, and so I did it. I made lots of reckless decisions and lots of reckless mistakes along the way. It was chaotic, and I think that's my experience, which is an experience I'd love to share for the girls or the babes or the dollies that are just like me, and they just fuck up. You know, they just mess up and they learn from my mistakes, rather. I'd really love to share those experiences as far as how did I budget, how did I plan, what tools did I use, what some of the hacks that I've since realized. It was originally supposed to be the Banana Trail route, which is essentially Bangkok. You land in Thailand, you land in Bangkok obviously, and then you go all the way to the north of Thailand, which is Chiang Mai, and then Pai, and then into the next bordering country, which would be Laos. And then once you get to Laos, you go to Laos, and then you go further down in Laos. Then from Laos, you go to the other country, which is Cambodia. From Cambodia, you come back to Thailand, and if you'd like, you go to the south of Thailand, and then you can leave the country. I mean, other people also use it differently, where it's Thailand into Laos, Laos into north of Vietnam, to the south of Vietnam, Cambodia, back to Bangkok, and then back to the south. Where the islands are. So initially my plan was I'm just going to do 3 countries. I've been to Vietnam, so I wasn't interested in going to Vietnam. I figured I'd go into Laos and then Cambodia, come back and then go to the south of Thailand. None of that happened. None of it. Instead, I ended up landing in Thailand, going to Chiang Mai, and I was like, okay, I'm in Chiang Mai, which means I'm going to go into Laos, but I was just like, I don't think I want to go to Laos. It was just not speaking to me. I was like, if I go there, I'd be going because that's where everyone's going, but I just don't feel like that's where I want to go. And you know what? I appreciate that young lady for sticking to her guts like that. I was just like, Andi Baweli and Funi, I don't want to. So, and now I'm glad the only reason I'd be going is because that's the route. Everyone goes this route, but I don't think that's it. Like, the more I did my research, I was like, there's nothing. Instead, I was a lot more fascinated by Cambodia. I mean, they have one of the wonders of the world, which is the Angkor Wat. I felt like between Laos and Cambodia, I felt like I'm more interested in going to Cambodia. Little did I know, Cambodia was hell. It was good. I went to an island, Korong. I was there for a week. Loved it. It was so beautiful waking up to the ocean every day, honey. It was delicious. But as we all know, I had a very terrible experience with immigration. I was profiled as a South African passport holder and as a black passport holder, but we're not going to say that part out loud. And so even just entering the country, I just immediately was thrown off. I wasn't interested. So then I was in Cambodia for a while. I spent a lot of money. I wasted a lot of money in Cambodia because of immigration issues. Again, I think I'd love to have that as its entire episode because there's just so much to unpack there about the profiling that comes with traveling while back, which is why I'm like, this is a very unique experience that's unique to a lot of people, especially Africans, I think I'm going to talk to. So then I went to Cambodia and I came back to Thailand. So you can imagine I was already in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, so the north of Thailand. I'm getting ready to do Pai so that I can go into Laos, but I was like, no. So I went back to Bangkok, then into Cambodia. I was like, I'm not going to go to Laos, it's fine. I'll just go to Cambodia and then come back to Thailand, and then I'm going to go to the south of Thailand, which is the islands. But after I'd been in Cambodia and rainy season was starting, and I'd been on an island for like a week, I was like, oh, it's fine. I can't detain and like I have had a very wonderful island experience. Let me just go back to Thailand because even then I was just very exhausted. I was so tired. I was so fatigued. You must remember that even my this idea was born from the frustration of just, dare I say, loneliness that comes to traveling as a black woman solo, that specifically backpacking, because traveling, I think in any other way, you could have a very totally different experience, but I think specifically for backpacking. So I came back to Thailand, and I had made a friend actually from TikTok, shout out to Collect, and she was like, girl, if you ever want to come back to Thailand, if you ever want a place to stay in Chiang Mai, please come to my house. She has a beautiful big house and she has a cottage downstairs. So like, I went back to Chiang Mai. I was so frustrated, and I think I was so anxious from my immigration experience that I had faced in Cambodia. I was just like, if I have to go to another country right now, I feel like I'm just gonna die. Like, I don't want to go through that because it was so traumatic. And hearing people sharing their stories about even other countries that are like, oh yeah, in Philippines it happened to me, oh in Malaysia it happened, I'm like, we're not safe anywhere. So I went to Cambodia, and you have to remember, this time I still don't have a plan. I still don't have a specific idea of what am I traveling for. I've just finished teaching in South Korea. I went back home for a few months before coming doing this whole backpacking thing. So I'm this 27-year-old who has this money saved, I guess poor financial management skills, and she's like, I just want to spend this money and travel. Even in addition to that, just feeling like I mean I could stay here, I could teach. Like I didn't feel as though there was anything to return home to. I knew I was done with Korea. I was like, I've been to Korea, I think I'm good with that. So I was like, okay, maybe I could teach in Thailand. I could just stay in Thailand because I was like, I kind of like the country. It's so much more relaxed, especially Chiang Mai. I love Chiang Mai. I'm in Chiang Mai. So I applied for a teaching job because I was like, yeah, I could stay here. I'm going to be that babe. I'm going to have a bike and I'm just going to stay here. It's cute. It's a tropical country. What's the worst that could happen? Applied for a teaching job. I was like, okay, fine. Let me just do teaching in Thailand. And if I don't like it, I'm just going to quit. As the time goes, as time progresses, you're going to learn that Upumelela has no problem quitting. I will quit. If it does not bring me joy, I will quit. It's a good and a bad thing. Applied for a teaching job, got a job within a week. Was this big school. Pay wasn't as like Korea, but I was like, okay, start of living here. It's fine. I can do it. First day going to work, I said, I cannot do this. I was on my way. But I was like, I do not think this is how I want to spend my life. I'm waking up early because I was living 30 minutes away from the school. This is by like motor vehicle, 30 minutes. This is, and also mind you, this is coming from a babe who was walking for 5 minutes to work in Korea. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And that's because I was like, okay, well, I kind of wanted to buy a laptop. I was like, okay, fine. Let me stick up here so that I can buy a new laptop. Because I think I was just struggling with the fact that, okay, this is my entire day. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. Now I go to work and I come back from 5. After I come back, I need to do this freelance work. And I'm already annoyed at that job. I just, how I feel, you just don't feel it. You just don't feel it. And maybe, again, an opportunity for another episode on the realities of teaching, ESL teaching, that go beyond. I mean, it's a different country. I think there's just, again, so many nuances and experiences in there that are worth sharing. So I stayed, which was what was supposed to, I was like, I'm just going to stay for a month, get my money, buy my laptop. Now I started this job in the middle of the month, which means my income, which is already not a lot, my salary, was even lower. I couldn't buy that laptop because now I have other commitments. Now I have to do visa renewals for this damn job. So I stayed another month. For the second month, I said, I'm quitting. I don't have a plan. I'm quitting. I'm going to leave this. Now I'm conflicted because, for context, I'm also working as a freelancer and I'm traveling. It was just all these moving parts in my life where I wanted to be a traveler and I am also have to sustain this travel and I'm working remotely and I've brought teaching into the mix. I don't even know why and how I got myself into that situation. But it's still, I learned a lot from that situation. I learned about the kind of person that I am. I learned about things that I like, what it takes to commit to a dream, I guess, because I think even coming to Southeast Asia, because my initial plan for traveling was I wanted to travel Africa, but Southeast Asia is so much more accessible as far as transport and moving between the different countries. It's a lot more cheaper to travel and even to stay, at least, Thailand, Vietnam, the standard of living is not very high. And I had only ever traveled. So remember, the only time I've ever traveled was when I moved to Korea. So I'm familiar with traveling in Asian countries in a way that I wasn't back home. And I had tried to travel Africa. I had a whole place, a WORLDPACKERS experience because I was going to do East Africa, which is still on the lineup. And I'd gotten this place and it was in Mozambique. It was a good initiative, but even as the host was telling me that, from Maputo, because it was in Nakala, like in the north of Mozambique, and they were going through a civil war, I was just like, you know what, I don't know, I'm just a babe who's starting this thing. Let me just go where I'm comfortable. But that's essentially where I wanted to go, and so I ended up here, and all this fatigue from all of this frustration, and I'm working remotely. It was, I think it was supposed to get to this point. And so now I just quit resigned my teaching job that I was never even supposed to do. Because I'm like, how did I even end up here? I'm supposed to be traveling. Why am I going through work politics? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to leave Thailand. My visa's going to come to an end. I'm going to go to Malaysia. And I was just, honestly, the plan was to go for the fun of it because I was like, it's right here at the border. Just go to Malaysia, Also go to the south, to the islands. I haven't been there. Krabi, Koh Samui, Phuket. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Krabi into Malaysia. Guys, it was the hardest. Like, when something you just dread it. Like, how do you even dread booking a flight? And like that's the most exciting part. It's like, shit, I'm traveling. Yes. I was dreading it. I was like, oh my God, I have to do that. Oh God, I have to do this thing. I have to book. Oh God. Until eventually I was just like, why didn't I go to? Like, why don't I just go home? It's been a long 4 months. I think it's been 5 months. Go home. because you're going through too many things, and now you're operating from a place of fear rather than a place of joy and curiosity. Now you have to leave Thailand and you have to make a plan to go to Malaysia because, oh well, Malaysia is right. Like, the reasoning is not even strong enough. And as soon as I made that decision, I felt so free, because it was like, oh yeah, I didn't even know that option was available to me. And I think it's because I've made these commitments. I also have a travel group on WhatsApp, which I'm going to link if you guys want to join. And I'd committed. I'm like, guys, we're going to do this. It's my WORLDPACKERS affiliate group, but I really want to make it so much bigger than that. I'd even let my group members know, I'm like, girls, we're back on the move. We're going to Malaysia, which, by the way, as I'm filming this, I haven't told them that, hey, we've changed our minds, but I really hope they're going to be supportive. And if not, it's fine. And it wasn't an easy decision to make, because now I was sitting there feeling like I failed. I've called everyone. I typically go through things on my own. I'm just like, oh, I fucked up. And I'm going through the emotions on my own, and I feel like, oh God, I fucked up. Oh, I'm a loser. Oh, I didn't do this, and I didn't travel like I thought I would. And which really goes against what I just said. When I was like, travel there's not one way to travel. There's so many different ways. It's just unfortunate. Which I was even thinking about it, about how travel, we've only ever seen travel from the white lens, right? Because this is something that hadn't been available to us as, I'm going to say us because I'm a black person. It's not something that was available to us for many years. But like post-colonial, this is something that is a symbol of wealth. And for the majority of the time, it's something that wasn't accessible to us. So it's almost as if we're following a blueprint that was created by people who didn't even have us in mind when they were creating it. And I think this space, we get to maybe reshape what it means to travel in our own terms, whoever you are, because travel as we know it now, as what we see, this kind of travel was never created with people like us in mind, which is why we're going to go into the spaces and you're not going to feel as welcome, you're not going to feel as, because I don't know. Maybe so I was going through those emotions, and I was like, I fucked up, and I'm going home, and I promised this people, and I'm not, and I'm just realizing, but I'm just be like, hi, I'm going to go back home and I'll make a plan. And I think it's going to be so much easier for me to plan while I'm at home, not from the place of scarcity and fear now, where it's like, what do I want to do? I think going home is going to present that opportunity for me to really see what matters, realign my priorities, and take the time that it takes. Like, I cannot be behind on my own life. This is my life. There's no way that I'm behind on anything. There's no way that I'm losing time. And this is my life. Like, the time follows me, babe. Time moves according to, like, I tell time what to do. Those are all guys, I feel like I've grown so much as traveling, but there's also like the dark side of it, you know? It's not all romantic and cute. And those are the stories that I'd love to share. And without talking too much, I think we've come to the end of this podcast. I really hope you get an idea of who I am, what I'm trying to achieve. Let me know if you have any topic suggestions. Thank you for allowing me to take you on this journey. This first episode, our pilot episode. Pilot, you get it? Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.